Let's talk a bit about scripting here. So with scripting, it's a feature. If anyone's been in some of our prior events that we've been running, you've seen where we access those, and we'll get into all the details with them. But the idea is that when you're an agent, even a simple task that just takes a few clicks can become quite lengthy and tedious if it's something repetitive that you're doing over and over again. So the pain point is if it takes you 17 clicks to clear a print spooler, then perhaps we want to automate that for you and make it simple. So it's something that could just be run. Uh, we also have the pain points of just taking a long time to resolve an issue because you're clicking through and it's a difficult time after time after time execution that you run through. So if we can cut that time experience down for you and make it very simple to click a button and send something out, we want to address that. So that's the solution. We're going to automate and execute at the push of a button. We're going to control what scripts your team has access to, or maybe open it up and allow them to create their own, but we'll show you all of the controls that we have there. And the idea is that our time to resolve will decrease. That will increase the end user satisfaction, both on the agent and the employee or customer side. And we're simply going to have a smooth and easy workflow. So anything we can do to make that difficult task you have of providing support internally and externally is what we want to do here. And this is where scripting really can be a time saver. And now if we want, I'll just go ahead and we will be able to jump into a demo and take a closer look at how everything works here. I think I'll need controls passed to me for that. Thank you. All right, so I'm bringing you over to my screen where we have on the right-hand side a customer machine, on the left-hand side the console. You should all be fairly familiar with this. I wanted to talk about where we launched the admin center. If we go into tools here, I'll be able to launch admin. And as an admin, I have it open already. We'll be able to set up everything that we need related to scripts. So when we come into organization, one of the first things that you want to do here is scroll down and make sure that the ability for script deployment is checked. So you'll see that here. And the nice thing about the script deployment is we can say, hey, you can use both your private and centrally managed scripts. So ones that we're saying are commonly used or perhaps granted to you for certain job functionality would be here, or you could upload your own. Um, we also have the ability to say, I don't want you uploading your own. We really want to control what access you have and what job tasks you're performing on these other machines when you're in session. So that's where the only centrally managed scripts will come into play. So you want to make sure that you've checked that off. If you're not seeing scripts, that's the first place to come in under this organization tab. The next thing that you want to do is you'll be able to come into global settings here. And under the global settings, let me scroll up a bit here, we'll have this manage centralized scripts. When you select that, you're going to see a couple of groups I've already created. But in these groups, this is where we're going to be able to deploy the scripts, enable it, all on the tab when you're in an active session. So if I were to add a new collection, I would go here and give it a name. So let's just say this is going to be our customer support as opposed to internal support. I'll create that. And here we'll have scripts that I'm going to allow you to use on the customer support that we're running. So we can import the scripts, XML. We can add scripts manually here. Let me give you an example of something that we might run. So I was mentioning something like the print spooler, cleaning that out. We'll go ahead and give it a name and a description. Reset the spooler. This is something that normally takes about 17 different clicks when you're on a customer's machine to go through. So one of the things that we can do is start the script manually. Or there's this option to automatically start when the session starts. I think for something like a print spooler, we probably want to manually deploy that as needed. But there are a lot of scenarios where you'd use this automatically when session starts. One of our customers, Best Buy Geek Squad, they have it set so that they automatically run a system scan when they start their sessions. So they don't have to execute anything. It's going to take place automatically once they've added this script in. So as soon as the session starts, when they connect in and look at their end user's machine, they're going to see the data of the system scan right on the front screen so they don't have to go digging for it. So that's just one example of how that could be used. You can specify the platform that it would run on, Windows or Mac. Symbian's kind of an older Android mobile operating system that was out there that may be in use sometimes too. The other place that we'll come in and configure is we can put in the URL to the script, resides on the a website, or we can put in the network path, or we can go ahead and upload a file. So if I choose a file, I'm going to be able to come in here and find a batch file that we've created to clear the print spooler and save us those 17 steps that we have to go through each time we want to do so, particularly if we're going to be doing this on many machines. That in itself will execute the script for us or allow us to execute it manually. The other piece that you see here is resource file. So if this batch file calls on another data resource, this is a place that you can include it. So you can upload a file that batch file might be referencing. And again, you can put in the network path, the website location, or upload the actual file itself. So it can perform a lot of functionality by having the resource files on hand or just having the script executed exactly the way you want. And there's a lot of ways, if you haven't used this before, that you could start trying different scenarios, and we're going to show you some good resources where you could do so. But let's just go ahead and save out this script that I've created. So now it's here, and again, here's the auto start that we could use if we wanted to, and I can begin adding in more and more scripts. So those centralized scripts are now there for me to deploy out. So over here on the left-hand side, I have my technician groups. And when we're looking at something like the technician groups, we're going to be able to come into a few different areas here. I'm going to scroll down into the settings and get us to an area where we will see the scripts. So we had the company approved quick commands, the customer support, and here's the support, the customer support they added in. If I want to add this over, I'm just going to hit the add button. Or again, if that's changed and what we're able to do on a customer machine has changed, we can go ahead and remove that here. So again, the 3 steps are going to be making sure that the organization is enabled, 2, setting up any categorization of them, and again, deciding if they are only going to be able to use the company approved scripts or if you're going to allow them to create some on their own, and then going ahead and making them available for the different groups that you may have in place. So that's a little bit on the admin side of how things will work. We'll go in now and run a session so we could take a look at how we would use these in real time. So on the right-hand side, I have a calling card, and this person named Pete, we're going to call him, has a session that we're going to start. He's put in a request. I'll go ahead and jump into an active session. Now, it doesn't matter if it's remote control or desktop viewing, I still will have the options for scripts. So I could choose either or, and we'll go through the connection. He'll have to allow it. And now you've probably seen this before. We're going to be remotely controlling his machine. So I have the option to hit scripts here, and the scripts that have either been mandated down to me from the admin settings that we put into place, or the local scripts that I've been using that I like to use often just as an individual agent will be listed here. So as we are running through the scripts, there's a couple of things that I can do. I have, for example, a defrag here. If this is a favorite script, I'm just simply going to check the star next to it, and it's going to put it up here at the top where I can grab it and run it anytime I like. If I want to manage the scripts before we go out and run these here locally, there is going to be a place under Tools where you choose Manage Scripts. And this is going to be the same type of thing we were looking at when we were setting up in the admin, where we can add in something new, and you might recognize script name, the uploading a file, resource file if it's tied to that, executing it on start, and making sure you decide what platform that's going to apply to. So I've done that, and that's what we're seeing here under the scripts that I'm using. This is also the place where I can control the order I'm seeing them. Maybe I like MAC address and ipconfig. I want to move those to the top of the queue. I can do so. So those will be the way I see them when I'm choosing which one to execute out. I also can delete or modify or edit anything that we need to from here. So that's a bit of what managed scripts will look like. Now, when I come back into the session that I'm running, I have these available here. And let's say we just want to know the MAC address of that machine. So what this is going to do is allow me to pull the MAC address, and let me make sure I'm indeed selecting that. I don't want the defrag here, and I'm going to move something over so I can just select that appropriately. Here we go. We're going to deploy that. Actually, I should do this side by side so you can see it. You might notice here on the customer side, they can see everything that's taken place, and depending on the size of the window, it'll be more visible or just kind of hidden out of the way. But over here on the left-hand side of our chat log, we're seeing exactly what took place. So we went into session, we can see the physical address given back to us, and that's what that script did. To the same extent, if I go into something like run ipconfig, it goes through the execution. We'll see on the left-hand side everything that it's pulled. So as an agent, I have all the details at hand that I would need to understand, fast and easy. Certainly a lot better than going through many different clicks, many different windows opening a command prompt, running some of these. By having it in a quick script, it really is going to be an efficient way to get to things. Now, on the right-hand side, there's a log file of everything that took place. So I do have the option to copy this to the clipboard and extract it. Maybe this is a fast way for me to get the address that I need and use it somewhere else. So the log files are always present. And your scripts are always going to be here for you to modify and utilize. Now, if we are through with the session, and let's say I come up here and I end the session with the end user, obviously don't have a way to get to that machine anymore unless I've put an unattended node on it. And so I therefore don't have any of the scripting. I just have the ability to manage them for the next sessions I might be running. Now, what's nice about the scripts and all the ways that we run these through, maybe we start the ipconfig, we end the ipconfig, we will have not only the log files that you see in real time, but also an audit trail and reporting. So let's go back into the admin center for a second here. So let me go ahead and pull that back open. And the next tab that I'll show you in the admin center is reporting. So if we come into reporting, there are these report types. And if we go into chat log, we saw how when we were running those scripts, everything was tracked in the chat log. This is going to be the place where we're able to come in, select the chat log, and get a report. Now the reports can be extracted to CSV, Excel, HTML. I'll just show you a report kind of online here, just a few sessions that I've run, and you can see that this morning was running through some of these sessions. I can look in the chat log and have that detail at hand. So it's a great way to get the system information that's pertinent to your job task, have it available, have the audit trail of everything that's taking place in this reporting area. Now, if you are not sure kind of what scripts you need to run, we do have a really nice repository available. And that is here in our communities. I think I may have shown this in a prior week when we were just talking about some of the session functions. But a lot of the commands that I was showing you today, some of these intro, grabbing the MAC address, getting an IP config are here. It's a CMD file. You can download, you basically come in here, you go to save as and make sure you allow it. And once you have it, it's going to be available to upload. So you can grab at least a few of these from here. Customers are sharing their best experiences in this area. So if you have a great one, go ahead and upload it here. And if it's relevant for someone, you can take a look at the details and download it and try it out. We'll put the link to this in the chat for all of you. So let me go ahead and make sure that we put this out for you now in the chat of our GoToWebinar, and we'll send this. Actually, I think that you might need to do that, Katie, since I'm a panelist. I'm not sure I can send that out, but we'll let you do so. The other thing that comes in handy in terms of using there are cheat sheets out there for things like command prompts. So if you are kind of new on the support or IT side and there are things that you'd like to try out, go ahead and grab some of these commands. These are things you might normally do to command prompt. You can put them into a batch file. You can upload that batch file as a script and see what it's like to just do some basic tasks. And as these tasks increase in complexity, then you can make them as detailed as you need to as you're executing them out for your different internal and external scenarios. Okay. So as far as scripting, we also have some great resources that we're going to share with you. A good video on how to do that out on YouTube. This is being recorded, so you'll be able to reference this as well. But it is a great way to decrease the time that you're spending in session, make it just not so tedious to go through the day-to-day tasks that you have to in order to understand environments and execute out. So try them out. Don't be afraid of them. Start out with some of those basic ones that we put on this rescue repository, and you can't do too much damage with those. You're just grabbing a MAC address. It's not going to change anything on the other machine, but that would be a good intro into how powerful and easy these are to use. And then you can start thinking about other ways that you can automate some of your job tasks and make life faster and easier as you go through support.